Welcome to On the Precipice MUFON Contact Radio Program with your hosts, CJ Arabia and Richard Banaszak, where discovery, disclosure, and evolvement meet. We are on the cusp of evolutionary realizations, technologies, and awareness. So come along and share in the adventure of discovery of who we really are and where we are going.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to On the Precipice MUFON Contact Radio Show. We are your hosts, CJ
Arabia.
I keep doing that. I have to apologize.
Okay. I mean, I think Banaszak's hard to say for a lot of people. Am I saying it right even?
No,
okay.
I'm Richard Banaszak, of course. Here we are today already. Holy moly, our third episode. Oh, my God. And then this one is going to push us over the edge because, you know, we are glad that everybody's here with us as we continue our journey on this precipice. We are on the cusp of discovery, disclosure, and involvement. So I really think that you're going to enjoy the show today. So CJ, what is up?
Hey, thanks, Richard. Lots of stuff. So there was the directors meeting that MUFON had in the last couple of weeks. So I got a little information from that. They're working on an app that promises to be really awesome and have some great features. And also, MUFON is looking for field investigators right now. We could use them in a lot of states. Some states we have a lot and some none. And there's also Anniversary Feinstein and the Case Assistance Group, the CAG. And they get all the cases that maybe a state doesn't have a field investigator or a country doesn't have someone covering it or something like that. And so that's her job, is to make sure all these other cases get investigated and a human sees them and does the research as we do for all the cases. So, you know, even if you live in an area that's, you know, just somewhere out there, you can join the case assistance group and just help with a lot of different cases. But if you're interested at all in becoming a field investigator for MUFON, there's different ways you can go about it. You can go to the MUFON website. You can go to our SoCal MUFON website that we also have and send a message through there that you're interested in joining. That's going to go to Gino in Southern California. If you're in the rest of the country, I don't know, you know what, send an email to me and Richard and we'll tell you where to go, because it's cjandrichard@gmail.com, and tell us where you're from and that you're interested in being a field investigator, and we'll help guide you toward your state director or at Anniversary to help up with the other cases. And then for anyone who doesn't know, so Richard and I are both field investigators, right? We're both level 3, I believe, field investigators in Southern California. We're both members of MUFON's experiencer resource team. So we are also qualified to handle cases of contact and abduction, or whatever you like to use, different words, right? Different people feel different ways. So what else? Case assistants, contactees, level 3. And then also we just got our statistics for July. So I just thought I might look at some of them. The United States, number of reports, 374 for July. Canada, 25. Brazil, 13. United Kingdom, Australia, France. I mean, it goes down. I feel like I love the statistics. Every time the statistic email comes out, I'm always running to see it. California, 47, which is obviously a particular interest to Richard and I. I know I've had a lot of cases in the last month. And we have a great team out here in Southern California, a lot of great field investigators and several ERT members as well. What else? Here we go. So circles, right now, circles and spheres are what people are seeing the most. Ovals, unknown, star-like. I was kind of shocked to see the classic disc at like the 10th, kind of down
Orbs.
Yeah, so orbs, a lot of ovals, lights, a lot of ovals. Yeah, a lot of circular and oval shapes, it seems, lately. And then I always like to go to the last page where it says, most impressively, there were 12 landings, hoverings, or takeoffs reported, 21 entities observed, and a number of abduction cases were filed with the ERT, submitting experiencer questionnaires. So that's just a little bit of like MUFON business of what's going on. But like, I don't know, when I joined MUFON because I had reported what I had seen as a child to MUFON, and I spoke with Earl, and then honestly I just ended up joining MUFON after making a report. And MUFON has the like social pages online on their website, and I would go in there and talk to people. And Rusty from Florida, she's the chief investigator for Florida, and I'm now the chief investigator for Southern California. And she just said, you should become a field investigator. And I just thought, oh, that's silly. But then I got the book and I just studied and I passed on the first try. You get a few tries to study and it's an open book test. You just got to really read through it and understand the information and know where to find it in the book, because you're not expected to memorize everything. But I have to say, since I joined MUFON and became a field investigator, it's just so fun. I mean, I miss Earl, all our in-person meetings, and hopefully we'll get back to that again. But there's also, and we're lucky to live in Southern California, there's a really big community, and a lot of people come through Los Angeles, to film, whether they're, doing an Ancient Aliens episode. There's always something filming here. So it seems like we would always get a lot of great speaking guests out here. And we're still looking for an in-person venue, possibly in the Pasadena area, where that's a little more central for everyone to get to, so we can have in-person meetings and speakers again. And I have some announcements for a little later.
Hey, so I just want to, Bill, are you able to put up the MUFON website so just people can see that MUFON website? And then I don't know if you can find the ERT page, because those are important things that people can see. If not, I'm good with that. But the one thing I wanted to say, there's a lot of what the MUFON monthly report doesn't mention in terms of it as it relates to the ERT. And the only reason why I go with there, because the ERT, this whole idea about ERT, it's a different way that MUFON wishes to approach the whole subject of our visitors and who they are and where they come from. So we do a lot of cases. But one of the things I just wanted to mention, we keep privacy, anonymity for the people that report. And it's a very much different approach, albeit it's scientific. It's still a lot of a different approach. So I just want to make sure that please contact us, write us about the show and all that. But if you've had experiences, either a sighting or you have had any experiences directly with what you believe is the phenomenon, ET, extraterrestrial, some people use the abduction word. We're very much wanting to hear from you, hear from your experiences, and everything is confidential. If you say different, then we'll keep everything that you say confidential. And I just want to make sure and employ people that that's the way we approach it.
Always. So, if you see Richard sharing a case, which you will see, he's gotten permission to share that information. We would never share. And I've said this before, there are enough people with amazing stories who want us to share them and are okay with us sharing them. We're not going to share your story if you're not interested in it. But for me, at least, I would like to help you if you feel alone. Like, I know what it was like to secretly be watching UFO news, watching documentaries, and being like, did that happen to me? Why do I have so many similar memories to that person, but I've never been hypnotized? So I don't, it ends at a certain point. And, I guess like you and I were calling them sort of the armchair ufologists. We're out there, we're watching what's going on, or you're out there watching what's going on, but you can't talk to your friends or family. Like, even my partner would politely kind of listen to me and smile, and go, I know you saw something. And I go, oh, I did, though. He's right. And for me, at least, I don't have a problem with people who can't believe it until they see it, because I feel like I would be one of those people. So I'm not here to convert anyone, but those of us who have seen it, we've seen it, we know, I guess because I've seen it so up close, I've seen a UFO up close, I just know, it doesn't matter what other people believe.
Right.
So bring it forward. And if you don't feel comfortable filing, send Richard and I an email. We'll try to help you. There's we know about a lot of support groups, which we're going to get into, as you see, as we go forward in future episodes. We're going to kind of focus on different, not parts of, ufology, and even getting into some of the Catholic, the miracles, the biblical miracles that also mimic, looking at miracles through the lens of ufology and the similarities between some of those. And then what I really want to do too is kind of later in December focus on the experiencers and reach out to people and get people in the support groups. They're out there, they're online, and I go to them all the time, and many of them, there's only a handful of people. And I know if other people do how to get involved in a support group, they would love to come and share their experiences and just spend an hour or two with a room full of people who not just believe you, they just know that what you're saying is true. They, like you just know. So that's kind of where we're going as we move forward. But
so very interesting when Bill brought that up. It, as you saw on our ERT webpage, we have psychologists, we have support. It's all about support. It's all about the experiencer. And I'm glad to
integrating it into your life, because a lot of people, you're living these dual lives, everything is compartmentalized down, and there's a lot of facets to our reality, and a lot of us in Western culture just didn't get this, from our parents. It just wasn't. And I'm a Gen Xer, so like I was just home alone, playing Atari or hiking in the hills or riding my bike, so we don't have that sort of tribal culture here where things are passed down. So things happen as a child, and I didn't even have the words to describe it. It wasn't until high school that I saw a show, like I said, about Betty and Barney Hill, and I was like, oh, I saw one of those. I never had the word. I didn't know it. I just wasn't on my radar as a kid. So.
But it's all about support. It's all about the experiencer. It's all about us listening. This type of investigation that MUFON investigates. It's all about the experiencer. It's all about listening. It's all about history. It's all about fears. It's all about everything that you've experienced. And we keep an open heart and an open mind. So I just want to make sure that everybody out there hears that. And please, if you have any comments or questions about what CJ and I are talking about, you have our email, and you can just send us a little note and tell us. So.
Yeah.
Wait, so anything else before we move on there, CJ?
Well, I'm going to save some of my stuff for a little bit later. Why don't you, let's see. No, I think I'm good. Thank you for asking. Why don't you go ahead and move forward?
So because we tried to spend a little time we just want people to understand where we're from, come from, I'm sorry. So last week, we had Preston Dennett on the show. And Preston talked about all of his books and all that, but we spent some time on a book that he wrote called Symmetry. And we're going to get into that because the person who is the focus of that book is our guest today. So it's sort of like a continuation. And now we have the experiencer. And so the experiencer, in our viewpoint about how we look at things, is a very important way of understanding the phenomenon. And there's a lot of people who believe that if you really want to know about the phenomenon and what's going on besides the nuts and bolts, is the experiencer and those people who have contact, as you know, CJ. So our buddy and our mentor and our friend who passed, Earl Grey, once, I guess, explained it best when he said that about the ERT at MUFON: if we wish to understand the phenomenon, we need to listen to those who have had face-to-face encounters. And again, who would be best to, I guess, ask questions to, about, have them explain their background and their life, except those people who've gone through it. So Whitley Strieber wrote a number of books, but Communion and Them, as we spoke about in the past, also went and revealed his experience and the research that he ultimately, him and his wife, were able to bring together and collate into researchable and information related to them. And so, again, these are people who've had contact with the phenomenon or with extraterrestrial or with whoever we're saying they are. It was funny. The other day, I listened to a podcast from Grant Cameron, and the one thing he says right at the beginning, he says, you got to start watching the experiencers. They're the ones that have the answers. And this is sort of a prelude to where we're going in our show today. And the show today is not about only the nuts and bolts of what a UAP or a UFO are. It's only the initial enigma of the phenomenon. When we talk about really trying to understand them, we want to know who they are and where they come from and what do they represent to humankind and mankind. These are all the real mysteries that we're actually trying to study and understand. This is why I like MUFON ERT. There's been countless cases, obviously, countless experiences throughout history and mankind, but I just wanted to bring up a couple of modern ones because many people are familiar with them. The Betty and Barney Hill, obviously, encounter that happened in September of 1961 in New Hampshire. By the way, there's a great movie. James Earl Jones is a part of it. It's an older movie, but and Betty and Barney and their experiences on board, the star map and the things that they were taught and revealed. Really good movie.
It's free on YouTube. It's free on YouTube.
And I'm going to suggest, right, I'm just going to suggest those people who have never seen it and those people who've even experienced any kind of contact with the phenomenon, good movie to see. The other one that I think is really cool, Calvin Parker and Charles Hickson had an event in 1973 in Pascagoula. It's called the Pascagoula River Abduction Incident. It was funny about that story that really was remarkable to me as being a police officer because they contacted the police. Police didn't believe them. They put them in a room and they hid a recorder and they did not change their story. You know, they
to the end.
It's a great story to follow. There's a MUFON ERT group that has done a lot of research on that particular event. And then you have obviously, right, and then you have the Travis Walton case that happened in 1975 in the Arizona desert. Again, there's been a movie about it, a very good movie. There's some issues about maybe what they decided to change to show.
But there's so many documentaries too. You can see
so many
interviews, the polygraph. I mean, they thought his friends had killed him in the woods. They were positive. If you were a cop, I watched a lot of true crime and Dateline. If I would have heard this story, I would have been like, dang, these boys killed this guy. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
But they all passed.
And then, of course, the and at the bottom is, I just want to show the next story. And this is Preston's book, Symmetry. That's our guest, Dolly Safran. And she's here. She's going to tell us from her own words about her experiences. And again, I'm excited, and I think it's going to be something that people are going to find riveting and revealing.
And one of the great things is she has conscious recall of this stuff.
So the most important thing to me about what Dolly says, among all that, she was aware, awake, and she experiences these experiences just like you and I are doing right now. So we're going to so Bill, can you bring Dolly on now? So here is Dolly. Hello, Dolly.
Hello.
Not that that's a musical. Yeah, not that that's a musical or anything, but
I've heard that a lot in my lifetime. Trust me. Yep.
I bet you have.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on our show, and we really appreciate you allowing us to hear your story, to sharing it, especially, we're MUFON ERT people. We research this stuff, we investigate this stuff, and to find people who are actually first, if you will, not secondhand, but firsthand witnesses to what's going on and what's happening is just incredible. So without further ado, Dolly, tell us about who you are, your background, and we'll go from there.
Thank you. I'm grateful to be here, by the way. Thank you very much. I'm Dolly Safran. I was born in Columbus, Georgia, just off of Fort Benning in 1958. My father was in the military as an airborne ranger. My mother was a housewife, and it was an interesting time for them because they were married 6 years earlier and she couldn't have children. And the Army did something to her and she did get pregnant, and my birth is the beginning of my life. when I came through to the world, they realized that I was an identical twin. My mother had 1 placenta and 2 cords, and my sister was missing. And that was a big deal. I wasn't told about that till I was 18. I am an experiencer from the very beginning. And I think even before that, because my father, after I became of age to understand all this, with him, he explained to me he was an experiencer as well. And it runs in our families. I have had my first actual memory of my experience was when I was about 10 months old. And we were living just off of Biscayne Bay in Miami. And we were in a high-rise apartment building. It was temporary till they were figuring out where they were going to live and all that, because they had just come down from Georgia. And I was in my crib taking a nap, and I saw a big bright light coming through the levelers. It's those old-fashioned, the metal ones in the 50s. And I was fascinated by that light. It was like, wow, what is that, And the next thing I know, I'm floating up in my crib. And I did not like that. And by the time I reached the top rail, now I'm really becoming concerned because I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to fall. And I tried to flip over and grab the rails and pull myself back down, and my memory ends there. I was totally afraid at that moment. I've had other memories in my life, not all fluid as they are now, and have been since I was 14, but I would remember them. My poor mom, did not like any of it. I was gifted in psychic abilities and pretty much put her on the end of a rope with it. And things were happening around me. When I was about 2 years old, a little over 2 years old, my mother was heavily pregnant with my brother. And I disappeared out of the house. And they went looking for me. They called the police and drove my father home. They had her in a cop car, very pregnant, on a very hot day in August, looking for me, and could not find me right away. They had a bolo out, be on lookout. And finally they got a call, and they found out that I was 6 miles from the house at a Utotem store, which became Circle K later on in Miami, like 7-Eleven, And I was sitting on the counter when they got there, and I was crying. I was mad because my memories of this were, they came to get me and took me and said, we're going to let you out, and you're going to walk around this building and go in and ask for a red balloon. They're going to give you a red balloon. They have one waiting for you. Okay. I'm 2 years old, 2.5. It's like, yes, red balloon. I love red balloons. And when they let me out, I only had underwear on. I didn't sleep in anything but underwear back then. Barefooted, the whole thing, Miami heat. Oh my God, on the sand and the dirt and everything. And came up to the door, and I couldn't push it open. It was too heavy for me. And I started banging on it and knocking, and the guy saw me, and he let me, he came and picked me up. He's looking for my parents. He called the police. He had me sitting on the counter when everybody got there. And I was hysterically angry at that moment because not only was everybody freaking out, but I didn't get my red balloon, and I couldn't talk to them. I refused.
You were two?
2.5, yeah.
And you were 6 miles from home?
Yeah, 6 miles.
Holy moly, your parents. Oh my God.
They did not release me to my parents right away. They had somebody from the county there as well, because they didn't know why I was in the condition that I was in the, 6 miles from home, my mother very pregnant. They called the neighbors. They called and my father's, in other words, they realized that my mother hadn't done it. She was all locked up in the house, and she was trying not to lose a baby at this point because she was freaking out. And they finally released me back to my parents, and they took me home. We ended up with guard dogs after that. She got a German Shepherd that had been a guard dog. Her name was Heidi. And Heidi was supposed to keep an eye on me and bark when things weren't going right. And I found that hysterical later in my life because every time they came and got me, Heidi went with us. They just.
But you had been gone missing in the book. How many times?
Multiple, unmeasurable.
A lot.
Yeah.
It probably drove your mother.
Yeah, your poor parents.
Yeah, it got weird. It did.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. We moved into a place that had very high fences. My mom didn't stop with one dog. We ended up with a lot of German Shepherds. She trained them. We ended up with Rhodesian Ridgebacks, which are very good guard dogs, things like that. And we had St. Bernards and one poodle. And it was a fun life while all this was happening for me. I enjoyed where I was going. When I was 5, my very first memory of Mama, wide open memory was I was laying out in the yard, and we have those ficus trees that we call them gumbo limbo down there. They're huge, and they have these vines that come down. You can swing on them like Tarzan, and they have little red berries in the wintertime.
Dolly, just for everybody, you said mama?
Mama, yeah.
Not your mama, but another mama.
Mama, yeah, another mama, and I call her mama. And
who was that?
she was a tall gray. She was about 7'2" tall, and she had beautiful blue-green eyes. She's alive still. And she is the closest I think that you could get to understanding is when she talked to me that first time when I saw her, she said, "I'm related to you." And I'm a little 5.5-year-old, don't really understand what that means, but it meant family, to me. And she said, "So call me mama. When you're with me, I'm your mama here." Okay, whatever you say. And I realized that she was like a liaison for me. She took care of me when I was with them. I was never without her. She literally became my mom on board wherever they did with me. She was my liaison. And I was related to her. I am related to her. And she is a focal point in my life. She became more than just somebody who took care of me. She became a counselor to me. She became a confidant to me. She is a huge part of my life. She's my second mother, literally.
And so you were 5.5, and you said this is where specifically did this occur?
Out in front of our house. I was laying in the yard looking up through the tree and looking at the pretty clouds, the fluffy clouds, pretending they were animals and things. And I saw what I thought was an umbrella coming down, We had just seen Mary Poppins like 2 weeks before. My dad took my brother and I down to Coconut Grove Playhouse and saw Mary Poppins. And I saw her umbrella. And I was looking for the handle, for the parrot on the end of the handle. And I could hear music as well. And it was slowly rotating, okay? And the next thing I know, I'm on board with her. At that moment, I didn't realize what on board meant, but I was with her, sitting in her lap, looking at her, thinking, "Hi, you're different, and who are you?" And that's when I realized who she was, and some of my memory became fluid at that moment. I realized I had seen her before. I was very comfortable with her, and she'd been taking care of me on board with them since I was birth, but it became an awareness for me at that moment. In other words, I was completely attached to it. I was aware of who Mama was and everything. And
so your memories of that particular time, were they all clear, or were they?
They were compartmentalized.
That's the word. That's a good word.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I had to live my life, and I had a mother who was wary of everything. Okay. She became a super overprotective mother. I mean, literally of me. And she was terrified. She had an experience when she was young, but I didn't know that till I was way older. And it made sense to me then. She did not want me going with them. And she knew she couldn't stop it.
With the ETs?
Yes. So we weren't allowed to talk about things, her and I, about this. She didn't want to hear it. She said, you're dreaming, you're this, you're that, you're sleepwalking, take your pick. My mom had a million ways to explain to me why this was not happening. And when you're a little kid and you have nobody else to talk to, that's an issue. I tried to talk to one of my school friends and found out rapidly that not a good idea. I instantly got attacked and picked on for it. And it followed me through my life, that one incident. So I just kept to myself after that and learned to live my life. And compartmentalizing everything made it easier for me until I hit 14. And my mom was starting to allude that I might not be mentally okay. And I decided that that's got to end. I'm either out of my mind, completely crackers, and I need help, which I would, get, or this was real and I had to deal with it. And that's when I decided to go whole hog for everything. And I was not going to forget anymore. That's it. Put my foot down. And the next contact I had was they came for me in about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. I'd been out with my telescope. I took astronomy at the Miami-Dade Transit Planetarium in Miami.
How old were you?
Oh, I started when I was 10. Yeah, we were big on science when I was growing up, my whole family. And I loved the stars. My brother took astronomy too, as well. And but I started first because I'm older than he is. And so I had my own scope and I was out doing my homework. And it was a school night and I was out late and my parents said, go to bed, pack up. So I did. And I packed my scope down and got in the house, got my jammies on. And I'm not a real good sleeper. I don't sleep about 2 hours a day, never have ever slept more than that. And I was looking up at the sky. It was a beautiful night. I mean, Orion was up, and is in January. And oh my, no wind, no nothing, not a cloud, nothing. Was perfect viewing weather for everything. And I thought, well, I'll just stand and see if I see an asteroid or a comet or whatever. And as I was doing that, I was looking around and I was thinking, you know what? There aren't supposed to be this many stars up here. And I'm looking between, I'm looking because I know the positions of everybody. And I'm thinking, no, what is this? There's about 100 of them up there, and they paired off into twos. And they started taking different directions. They went east, west, north, and south in the sky. 2 of them came down over our area. They broke off at that point. One went toward Dadeland, Mullen, Kendall, and the other one came out to the Everglades where we were, over our house. And I saw it changing colors. It came through the atmosphere. I saw it come down over the back of where we lived. And the tree that's right outside my window started whipping around like crazy. All right. It was one of those trees where if you touch the leaves, they fold up, all the leaves were folding up. And I'm looking at the craft and I'm thinking, okay, memorize. I have an eidetic memory, so this is easy for me. And I'm looking at every single thing. I'm observing it, memorizing it, And I start at the bottom of the craft and I notice that it's hovering slightly and it's doing this. It's waving and bobbing slightly. Okay.
So it's sort of wobbling.
Yeah. And it dipped every now and then, And I got up to where it had more than 2 portholes, but 2 were facing me. Okay. And they were rectangular shaped and like that. And there was a being in each one of those windows. And that's when my brain went, oh. And I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, they see me, because I reacted and they flinched. They looked at me, dead at me. And I was like, no. And I gave up any pretense of being brave at that moment and turned. And when I turned, I was going to jump under my bed and my whole room lit up like a white, blinding light, and it froze me dead in my tracks. I was just like shocked at the whole thing. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw this ribbon of energy come down into the room in the light. And those 2 beings were coming down that energy ribbon into the room with me. One of them came over to me and he put my hand on top of his hand and pulled me toward the ribbon within. And when it did, everything became opaque. I mean, everything changed. My senses, everything changed. And I was trying really hard to fathom what the heck was going on. I could not react at that point. Stupefied, not afraid, stupefied. I mean, just stupefied, dead in my tracks, and moved with him. And we started going up. And the other being was down below us, coming up behind us. And I looked up and I'm like, how are we going to go there? Because my ceiling is right there. And the next thing I know, we're going right through it. I could smell it. You could almost taste the air, the dust particles. I mean, I saw all of it going through it. And I was like, oh, God. Went through the roof, which was a rocky roof. In Florida, we had hurricanes. We had a specific type of roofing. And the tree is out there. And I'm looking through the tree and I see the craft above the tree. And I'm thinking, we're going to go through the tree. And I could smell the tree. I could smell the cellulose in the tree, almost taste it. Went up through that. And then we went up alongside the craft, not in it, but alongside it. And there was an open door. And we were right up alongside it in that ribbon. And he shoved me in hard. And I went down and I landed on my keister on the floor. And I looked to my left and there's Mama sitting there looking at me. And my brain exploded because I knew who she was. That was my trigger. Okay, Mama was my trigger. I have never gotten this emotional. I'm getting emotional. It was amazing.
Everything came back.
In full, unbelievable living color. It's like being an amnesiac, and then suddenly one thing happens and you go, oh yeah. Wow. Only I just gone through an electromagnetic energy ribbon and my guts, it's like going in an MRI. My guts were roiling and I puked all over myself. I had a 2-piece pajamas and I put my shirt up and I puked into my lap. that wasn't pleasant for them or me. And Mom was telling the two grays that were with me, 8 little AI grays, guys, less than, just about 3 feet tall, go clean her up. And they took me, walked me, I'm holding onto my shirt and I'm following them because I know I should. Okay, I know who they are. And I'm looking around and I'm thinking, oh my God, we get down there and they take my stuff away from me. They give me stuff to wipe down with, and then they put me in an energy shower, like a UV shower, energy shower. And then gave me a smock to wear. It was blue. And by the time I put that smock on, I was shaking. I was cold. I was just like, and I had a headache. Oh my God, I had a headache. And they took me back up to where Mama was, and she realized that I was not okay. I needed to walk it off. And she said, walk her, get her up, keep her going. And so I went to the lower level of the craft, and then I went to the mid-level, and then I went back up to the top. On the mid-level, I saw where my room was. I had a little room in there, and it had a one bed, had a little cubby hole, and I saw my brush that I thought I lost. There it was, my Fuller brush that my mother almost murdered me over, because they're expensive even back then. A Fuller brush guy would come to the house and sell us stuff. And I was like, oh, I got my brush back. And
so, Dolly, just a question. So you recognize this from being there before, and you were sort of now aware or remembering your, wow. And so the white and blue light was sort of a decontamination. Is that right? When you come on board?
No, it's actually it's a rift light. That's the only way I can explain it. You're going from your 3D world into their interdimensional space, and it's shooting down at you. They actually beam it down on top of you. Okay, they let it come over you. They change the emitters in the craft to circle you in it. Okay, so I'm already changing dimensional. I'm shifting dimensionally in that moment. That's why I froze, because it's a weird feeling. I mean, the first time it happens to you, you go completely like, oh my God, you can't mentally, you can't move. You're terrified to move because it's just different. Okay. And that energy rhythm, when we connected with it, it blew my mind, because you actually literally go into a different dimension at that point. That's why everything became opaque to me. I could still see everything. I saw things in there that I never saw before also, which was weird. But we went up through it. And once I got onto craft, I was fully out of dimension with them.
But physically, your physical body.
So it's a vibration, a different vibration or a different.
I wouldn't call it a vibration. Everybody gets confused about that. It's not really a vibration. It's a frequency of.
Frequency?
Frequency is two things. And in the third dimension, frequency is the result of a sound that's being made, right? When I do this, I create a frequency. Right. When I speak, I create a frequency. Right. When I think, I create a frequency. There are frequencies all over the place here. But when you change dimension, the sound of the frequency changes, because you're in a higher dimensional space. So you go from third dimensional frequency sounds up into a fourth dimensional frequency sound, and your body starts to feel it. Okay, I'm receiving the information of all that frequency space on me at one time. It's one of the reasons I puked, because it was when you're lucid, it's amazing how you feel that happen to you. Because I wasn't just hearing and seeing in the 3D, almost 4D, I was hearing in the fourth, almost fifth. And it sounds different. It feels different. It's weird, They're able, how dolphins can hear frequencies, and they can. Sure. They're actually doing that way better than you could possibly imagine, because that's what it's like in their dimensional space.
Yeah.
And that's, you hear sound, you hear thoughts, you hear everything. I mean, it's crazy.
Does your body have the same needs when you're in that kind of a dimension, like to go to the bathroom, or do you get thirsty? Do you get hungry? Do any of those physical needs, or do those leave when you're in that dimension?
I started to become hot. I physically started, my whole body became elevated in temperature. I got hot. Okay. It felt like it was 80 degrees in there to me. Okay. And that that was something, and that's why you don't see them with a lot of clothes on board, because they feel it too. Okay, it's
I've
different.
heard it's hot and humid. I forget
Yes.
stories, but some of the stories have said it's hot and humid,
Humid, yes. And,
muggy.
all right, now muggy don't bother me because I grew up in Miami. Okay,
Yeah.
muggy is no thing. I practically have gills, and
That's why there's so many sightings in Florida. The
yeah,
humidity.
not a thing, right? But yeah, it's hot, and also what I ate was different than what I eat here. First of all, they wouldn't let me have any food from this planet on board that craft because they're germaphobes. Okay, they don't want our germs ever. Okay,
Probably very dangerous.
very dangerous for them. So I ate what they gave me, and they ate fish, lots of fish. They drank water, pure water than I've ever had in my life. It's oxygenated and incredibly high oxygen. I mean, wow. You're thinking better when you eat with them and drink with them. I was given wafers to eat, things to drink. Yeah, little wafers to eat and
People
drink.
have described the wafers or pancakes, and I've heard many descriptions of craft lowering over lakes and sucking fish out of the lakes in different.
Yeah, they don't do that much anymore because we're polluted. Yeah, that happened.
So they have their own fish. You're saying they have their own
worlds. They bring their own stuff with them. Yeah.
You're just giving me so many more questions for later, but I'll let you go.
So let's get back to, so you're on the craft. You're finally remembering. You have a room now that you realize, and
they give me a drink. Right. They give me a drink. It's tastes like kiwi, limes, oranges, and bananas. And it's viscous, it's green. And I looked at it and I know, okay, all right. So I drank it and I felt 1,000% better afterwards. I started to calm down. I wasn't shaking anymore. And they brought me back up to Mama. And I hear this voice in my head and I realize, oh my God, I know who that is. And it's the craft. It's Talata. He's talking to me and he said, good job. Congratulations. We're so proud of you. Because they now know 100%, I'm 100% lucid at this point. There's no.
I'm sorry, Dolly. So you said the craft, and then you said a name, and you said it was the craft.
Yeah, he spells it.
Could you explain who that is or what?
Yeah. All ET craft are alive. They are indwelling a craft that's bioengineered so that they can take control of it. They're usually fifth dimensional beings who are non-corporeal. They have no real body. They're all energy and light. Okay. And so they indwell the craft and they can physically come into our dimension via the craft. And they bring third dimensional entities in with them that work with them, like the Greys and the Nordic or tall white, as you call them, and others. Okay. And he is the heart and mind of the craft. He is old. I mean, he's lived eons old in places everywhere all over the universe in the third dimension. I mean, he came up like us too. He lived as a human eons ago as well. Different iterations on this planet and Mars and other places. He wise beyond belief. And when I heard him, I was like, he has a name that I cannot pronounce. And he spelled it for me because I wanted to hear it. It's almost like it's Icelandic, but slightly different. And I heard one part of the name and I said, Talata. He said, you can call me that. I was like, okay, I hear Talata. I can call you that. So that's my name for him. And that's what I tell you his name is because you couldn't pronounce it either. He is very awesome. I've known him my whole life. And I, at that moment, realized who I was talking to. And he said, we want to show you some things, but first let's go for a ride. And I said, okay. And they had a wand. It's about this long. It's about this thick. And it's metallic. And it vibrates when you put it in your hand. And it links you up with him. Mentally, it links you up to him. The minute I touched it, I was in sync with him. Okay. And he said, you're going to fly. I'm going to tell you where you're going. What gave me a brief on what to do. And he said, we're going to go to a planet and let's go. And after I learned it, we went together. We flew together. And he took me to Saturn. I got to go see Saturn. It was very, very cool. I learned a lot that day. I was taking astronomy, so I knew a lot about Saturn already, but my education took me to new places that day. many, many new places with this planet. And one of the last things we did besides going up and down through the rings is we went to the North Pole of it. And when you look down at it, there's an opening. It's chevron shaped. And you can see through the gases of the planet, the way it spins and everything. It creates this frequency chevron at the top that pushes it all away, and you can see down into it. And I was like, that is just totally cool, you know? So, excuse me, my daughter was calling me.
It's okay.
It's okay. So,
So
when I looked at that, and that was totally cool, and I learned about that, and you said, okay, now we're going to go somewhere else, but I'm driving, put the wand down. And I said, okay. And I sat with Mama, and we flew to the moon. And we landed, not in the dark side, but almost. We were, where light and dark meet, the line of declination between light and dark on the moon. We were up, like if you were looking at it dead faced straight on, we'd be at the 11 o'clock position, a little bit into the dark side of it. And I got to see the Earth in phase, which was very, very cool. And we soft landed. And they stopped everything and they said, okay, we need to talk to you because you're lucid and you've done this. Your opportunities have changed. And I'm thinking, okay. And he said, we know that you're a good, smart girl, and we would like to know what you want to do with your life. Where do you want to go? And I remember thinking, oh, there's only one thing I want. I've been flying crazy since I was a kid. Okay. I got a lot of pilots in my life and I wanted to fly, but I didn't want to fly planes. I wanted to fly a vet. You give me one chance and I'm going to say it. So I did. I said, I want to fly. And they knew exactly what I meant. And there was dead silence in the room. And I thought, oh no, I went too far. And I was shaking her head. No, you're not thinking, you're not getting it. This is a big decision. This is a decision that only an adult can make. And we're calling you an adult now, 14 years old, you're an adult. And she said, but you have to almost take an oath to this. You have to realize that with solemnity, she used that word, that this is real and this is not something you can back out and go, oh, I don't like it. This is a path, a life path. And first we have to figure out whether you can do it or not. They had to figure out if I was physically up to it, mentally, psychically, all of it. And it took them about 4 or 5 months to clear me to go. And then the day came and I was sat down and I said, no, I swear, I will swear to this. Because the training is intense. It took me 4 years. And I gave up the rest of my life for this. Nothing else I did with them was going to be anything but this. And I had to understand that whatever I was doing downtime, like here with everybody else, that I couldn't take any job or do anything that would put me in a position not to be able to go with them at any time.
Dolly, so I just want to make, this is 14. So this is the actual revelation and change in who you are, how you saw yourself, and then your awareness changed too about the ETs and about the relationships. And you chose, as if I understand, you wanted to be fully conscious. You didn't want to see it in another altered state or dimensional or different frequency. You wanted to see it as you and I see each other, as we see CJ and as we see the world.
Yes.
And so that was that point, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
There must be something special about the relationship between, so do you get matched with like one craft that you stick with, or do you fly multiple craft? And then there must be something, because as you just said, the craft can self-fly and self-land. So there's got to be something special about the relationship for you as a pilot and a craft. And are you with one craft so you're just really connected, or do you fly different craft?
I can actually fly other craft, but Talata always goes with me. He can disembody and fly go and dwell any craft they've got. And I have to go another craft. But Talata is always my co-pilot. There are 5 of us. We all take turns with him. Time is unlimited, and I'm one of the 5.
Okay.
And so, but yes, disembodied.
The other thing that too, not only the craft and the flying, which I would like to do myself, but it really was a life-altering, whole life change. your
Very-
whole focus, your whole perception, the things that you did and the things that you have engaged in since then is the one thing you said in the book. You had two lives. You
Yes.
had the life that you were here and as much as you could to live this life, but you actually devoted a lot of your life, as you said, to that life, most of it at nighttime. But yet when they would take you, so this idea about missing time, this idea about coming out of time and putting time over here and you being able to interact with them, even when they could return you, quickly, that was a whole other experience. And that began, if I understand right, when you were 14. Is that correct?
Yes. Uh-huh. I was closer to 15. It was in January of 1973. And I'm born in May, so I was closer to 15, but I was well into 14, living into my 15th year when I did that. Absolutely. And I was very, how do I put this? I was very sure of myself at that age. I was lucky that I was raised by people who taught me that. And I had a father who was an airborne ranger. So I, grew up a ranger's daughter. Trust me, you learn really quick with them. And I was afraid of nothing really. And I couldn't see myself any other way. It's as if I knew deep down in my heart of hearts that this was my path. This is the reason I ended up here now at this time.
But
And
you had two lives, like you said. You went to school here, but you also went to school over there all those times. You went to
4 years, right?
you called it the learning tree and all the things that you engaged in there. I'm just curious about that. I'm fascinated.
Huge duality. I was learning from them. I was also learning here. I had an overlay of that. My father knew that there were certain things that I needed to be doing, and I was steered toward it, like astronomy, mathematics, marine biology, animal husbandry, that kind of thing.
He was a contactee too. That's why.
That's why. Yeah. So what I did learn here, I learned strictly as an overlay to this. Now there were things that I did, like become a nurse. I wanted to be a nurse. I was frantically wanting to be a nurse, and I did. I wanted zoology. I did zookeeping, that kind of thing. While I was in college and doing things like that, I also worked for the government here and there and everywhere. And then at one point I was working for the DOD, and that was a survival thing for me because I needed to take care of my daughter on my own at that point. And so, yeah, it's just you flop around and you do weird things to get through your life to work. And not to mention, I'm human too. And everybody comes here for a reason. We all have to learn something while we're here. And so I was doing my due diligence to get through that as well.
Can you quickly just take us down when they would pick you up and take you as a group over to the planet that had the trees and there was a learning planet, and just give us a little insight as to what that was?
They would show up probably about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I would go with them. And it is their home world, the tall gray home world that I would go to. And they have a name for it. I can tell you the name. They call it Andeoma. And if you look at native languages here, Eoma is the people. And that's how they look at themselves, as the people. And that's why they call their homeworld Andeoma. It's the home of the people. Okay. It's ancient, old. They've been around a long time. And it is bigger than Earth. It has less gravitational issues that we have. We have heavy gravity here. It's less there.
Your mic. Okay. You must have hit something.
There you are.
Oh, there you. I think.
They don't want me to tell you anything. Sometimes they'll turn. I realize that they listen to every word I say.
No, and I don't want you to say anything that you're not supposed to. I'm just really tell us about going there and how they did the students and what it was like in the trees.
Yeah, they have this. The one tree that I was in was massively huge, and it had a big, like a portico, big tree house up there. Okay, portico treehouse, and there were stairs going up it, but there was hardly any gravity. So weight you down. So going up was really easy. And once we got in there, I was with 4 teachers, and there were about 25 or 30 of us from time to time, and it was all grade levels, and it was all girls. And I was like, where are the boys? And she pointed, and there was a tree way further down, and that's where they were. And I did a lot of my early years up in the tree. And then when I started doing things that required me to do experiments or have hands-on this, that, and the other, we were on the ground, and they had classrooms near where we stayed on the ground. It's beautiful there. It's very, they are nature lovers. They don't live like, they're not destroying nature at all. Okay. Everything is respected and taken care of, and they don't really have a whole lot of needs like we do here. They don't collect things. They're not into having tons and tons of stuff. Okay. And so everything was very simple. And
we're going to have to also pause for 1 minute. Sorry. Can you put a pin in that? Put a pin in it.
All right.
Because we're going to have to toss to or do you want to finish that thought? But we got to toss.
Go ahead.
All right. Take it away, Bill. Let's go to the commercial break. Thanks, honey.
Hold on to your seats, Cosmic Explorers. KGRA Digital Broadcasting, the unrivaled #1 source for raw, uncensored paranormal and UFO talk radio, has just unleashed a sizzling online merch store. Stay cosmic on the move with accessories, rugged phone cases, vibrant yoga mats, and notebooks perfect for jotting down UFO sightings. Ignite your obsession with the unexplained through bold, exclusive gear that demands attention. Kicking off with the Supernova, the store launches 2 heart-pounding collections, KGRA Digital Broadcasting and Bishop James Long. Every item you grab helps power the network and its groundbreaking shows. Stand with the truth seekers. Act fast, score your stellar swag, and join the uprising today.
So you don't care about his life. You just care about covering up your little top secret stuff going on. Meanwhile, this man's dying. How dare you put these people in the military to defend us, and then when they come out, you just kick them to the curb.
As UFO reports come in from around the world, the Mutual UFO Network, MUFON, is there. We continue to explore new cases and build our massive database. We share our information with the world in a number of ways. If you would like to be part of our investigative team, you are always welcome. What could be more exciting than exploring the UFO question firsthand? Join MUFON, find your friends.
So I guess we are back now.
Here we go, back.
So Dolly, are you okay now? Okay.
Yeah.
All that settled. And also we got to see that lovely commercial break with Hannah at headquarters, MUFON headquarters. If you've sent an email, you might have interacted with Hannah. She's our favorite.
So I want to continue just real quick with the learning planet, and there's a couple of sections I wanted to talk about I think are cool. Everybody always knows you got to get the book. You got to get the book. You got to get the book. The book is covered with all kinds of stuff about your life. So I just want to employ that. But I want to spend some time with the pictures and images and things that you said, because that's another thing. So we probably got about another 15 minutes on this path, if it's okay. So tell us again a little bit about the learning thing. Plus, they took you to some other planets.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
you did some field studies, and then they took us to a thing called Dyson spheres.
Right. You call them Dyson spheres. Yeah, they have another name for them. They're not exactly as you would have interpreted them. You know, the ones that they theorized here, where they were surrounding a sun, they were built around a sun, so they're energized that way. That's not how they are. It's an actual planet. Yeah, planetoid.
Yeah. But it's an artificial structure that was created for people to live in space.
Right. And at the heart of it, it has an electromagnetic center so that it builds out its own magnetosphere to protect it from incoming radiation and stuff. It's planet size. It's huge. There's like 3 of them that I know of in the universe.
Tell us about one you visited.
This one is like if you were to go midpoint from end to end of, you know, like if you were looking at the universe, you know, and it looks like an elongated egg, you know, shape. Mm-hmm. Well, you know, at the center of our universe, we actually have a huge black hole there. There's a void there, okay? And you can't really see it with optics at all because light lenses around it. They don't go there either, but if you were to head toward the center of the universe and then up slightly, in other words, looking at it at a map, that's where this one is, okay?
So Earth is at the other end.
Yes.
You talk about it, let's say Earth and our solar system is like on the right, and at the other end is, so it's just in terms of a reference point. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, and when we got there, I was like, "Whoa, what is this?" You know. And we landed, and Talata told me that he would see me on the sphere, and I'm like, "Okay, how are you going to do that?" And he said, "Don't worry about it." I'm like, "Okay." So I went in. Mama was with us, and my 2 grays that always accompany me wherever I go, and it took 4 days to show me this thing. And there was a lot of transport around on it because, oh my God, it's huge. It's as big as a plane. It's bigger than Earth. And it's where the best thing I can describe it as, it's multi-use place where plant species, animal species, biological entities, learning, you name it, is all on this thing in different transitions of places where they're going and whatever. And I got to see a lot of Earth's biofauna, you know, flora and fauna, and some of the animals that I thought were extinct on this thing. And it was explained to me then that they are being held protected until come time to repopulate this planet, if that's what they're going to do with species of animals and stuff, that we're heading toward a huge calamity. They were educating me toward this moment in our history that we have coming up at us. And so I was reassured, and I got shown the purpose of it. And one of the things that I was expected to do when I was flying with them was sometimes we would pick up an animal, or we would pick up some of their botanists or whatever who were bringing things back to go to there and transporting them, and why it was happening. And that was one of my jobs. And
is there a time frame on this cataclysm in your lifetime that you're prepping for, or
our lifetime?
Within our lifetime is what you've learned. And then I have another question for you too, because you've met a lot of entities, and a lot of them are humanoid, which a lot of people see humanoid, and they've got arms and legs, I guess is what I mean. And not all, obviously Talata is totally different.
Right.
But where did that, you know, because you learned in school that the odds that somebody else would look like us are very minimal, but it seems to be the most common shape of...
You were taught incorrectly, and it was to steer you away from the truth. That is not
right. So if this is such a common shape, do you know where it, like, where, do you know where life originated? Where did it originate all over at one time, or is there a point?
Yes, there is an issue, and I'm going to stop you from thinking the way you're thinking. I'm going to give you a whole new way.
Tell me.
It starts with your DNA. We all have the same DNA. To be exact, you have the DNA of every living thing on this planet in your DNA. You have the DNA of grass. You have the DNA of bananas. You have the DNA of bonobos and gorillas and birds. All of us share DNA. All that junk DNA that the scientists mentioned is full of all of that. You have all of the DNA of the entire universe in your blood, in your frame, who you are. There is no difference between any of us. We are all related. We are all part of the same thing. And when you hear contactees tell you, you're us, we're you, and we're all one, that is what they're referring to. This is a basic scientific knowledge. So if you see an entity that looks kind of wolfish or houndish, canine-ish, he's still human. He just ethnized out a different way. Also with birds or cats. Okay, there's some lesser animals, lesser species that you share DNA with that you are so far advanced of them genetically, you're built out genetically that you won't go back to that. But there are entities in the universe that resemble animals.
Just all over the place that looks
but
similar.
We're all human. We are Homo sapiens,
Right.
meaning that we come from this, that, and the other, and they know what we come from. They're Homo sapien and a little bit of something else. And they have different ethnicities. So when you think about race, stop. We are all one race. We are all the same thing. We have different ethnicities, genetic diversity and genetic ethnicities.
So that's what these different ETs would be, just considered as a different ethnicity.
Yes.
And then I just want, like, do they have a God? Is there a God? Do they not? Just, these are just my own personal questions, like, do they have one? Is there a God?
They call their version or their understanding of what God is, and I'm quite frankly know that they are correct, is they call God the All Mind, and we're all part of it. We are all autonomous beings within this giant mind, which is actually the universe itself. We're encompassed in it, and there is a mind, a creator, all mind, and it's very chatty. You can hear it if you learn to signal to it, it'll signal back to you, it'll download you, it'll tell you anything you want to know, but you have to be use your abilities to do that. There's nowhere in this universe you can't go outside of this body, and while you're here, people have been taught that they're locked into this, and they've been taught that maybe you're an atheist, maybe you're a religion or whatever, and you've been given lots of reasons not to know the truth, and you've been turned away from what is. And it is a fact that we are all entities, we're all conscious, we're all lucid outside of these bodies and inside these bodies, and we are all part of the same thing autonomously. In other words, we think for ourselves, and we have a path, we have learning to do, and we have to, the only thing I could say, you would say ascend, because everybody thinks you have to go up. That's not what it means. It means to become as wise as you can, to learn all that is learnable, know all that is knowable, and then proceed. And what proceed means is then you take what your knowledge is, what your wisdom is, and you employ it. That's what that means. So we're kind of sitting on a planet where that's not happening, and you've been diverted away from it. And now we got a lot of people who are 100% clueless, don't know the truth about anything, and are lied to on a daily basis because you are good slaves.
Dolly, you said something earlier. I just wanted to make sure. So you said two things in the book, but you talked about consciousness. But I want you to explain this swimming idea that we talked about. But you also mentioned the last time when we talked, you said you had visited, I apologize, the Crystal
Sea. Yeah.
Sea. So could you please, and again, this is all about the consciousness, the allness, we are them, they are us kind of.
We're one.
Well, and that they're very spiritual or very energy oriented. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, when I was little, I started OBing when I was a very small child. And I didn't know what I was doing at first. I knew I was doing it, but I didn't understand it, And as I got older, I went, oh yeah, okay, I get this. I got it. And ET reinforced it in me and taught me a lot more than I knew then. Outside of your body is an entire universe full of places for you to go see, do, be, learn, and enjoy. And one of them is what Preston refers to as the upper realms. Okay. It's his version of heaven. And in the upper realms, there are different places. There's a place of learning. There's a place of healing. There's a place of meeting with your loved ones and your family. There's a place to rest. There's a place to just make decisions about things. There's just whatever we are is there. Okay. And one of the things that's there that was biblical for me at first, because, I studied the Bible. I studied all religions, and I was aware of, in the Bible, it speaks of a crystal sea. Okay. And I saw it. And I thought, wow, somebody knew what this was. And I walked up to it, and I waded into it, and I was dry as a bone, but I felt the water, the energy of the water around me. You can swim in it, float in it, whatever. But when you come out, you're totally dry, which made sense to me, because it's not like it's here and it's actually wet, H2O. It's a different type of energy, water energy. Water is the basis of all life, by the way. And so I swam in it, and if I'm OBE, every now and then I make plans to go there and go for a swim. It's my big idea of fun. I love water. I'm attracted to that, and the energy in it is so incredible that it helps me. It's a way to re-energize myself, and so I go in a lot. It's like being baptized. If you want to explain baptism, there it is. You're being energized by the energy from the All Mind itself. It's almost like it could be an artery of it, of its mind or blood.
So you also mentioned, or maybe in Preston's book, he's the one who alluded to it, but you talked about the light, going to the light, that not only the people with near-death experiences or out-of-body experiences, there is a light that is part of what you're talking about. Can you?
It permeates everything. You become the light. When you're on the other side, you are light itself. I would look at my hands and I go, wow, I'm emanating light. And I felt the solidity of my hands, but I didn't need to do that either. I could become all light if I wanted to. Everything is light there.
Our true nature is light.
Very much so, yes. You are light now. You're a light being.
Right.
And dwelling a gravity-heavy body in the third dimension where you don't see it a lot. People talk about, I see your aura, I see your energy. Ooh, yes, they do, because they're able to see the light that you're emanating. So, it's a thing.
So, let me ask you this. Just tell me one more time about the first time you flew by yourself. You were allowed to fly, and tell me what that was like, the craft.
Well, it was my graduation day. I was 19 years old, and I knew I was going to go solo. I wasn't going to have any help from anybody. And until I was aboard, Mom was aboard, my two Grays are aboard. We never really fly alone, okay? But they brought my father on board. And I was more than amazed that they did that they allowed him to be with me when I took my first flight. And he sat, like I'm here, he sat to my right with Mama. And I had already decided on my solo day where I was going to go. And basically, I wanted to go into the Delphi system, and I wanted to go see Micha, my friend. That was going to be my trip. And I instantly did a double take, and I was thinking, maybe not, okay? And I was told by Todd, no, that's good. Your father's like you. He loves water. He likes everything about what you're going to do. He already knows this is what you're planning. I'm like, okay. And he knows he's going to be with you for a day or two, because this is not a 10-minute excursion we're going on. And I was on Ndeoma. They brought him to Ndeoma for me to take my first flight. I actually did the takeoff, all systems checks, everything, Tola and I were in sync. We were ready to go. And by myself, we lifted up, and I opened a light gate, and we went. And when we hit the Delphi system, I was far enough back out that I wanted to see some things on the way in, because there's lots of beautiful stars on the way there. And I wanted to just, give a look. I was going very fast because you don't want to be out in what you call conventional space for too long, because it doesn't even affect them. Okay. It's not something you want to do. Gamma radiation permeates everything, including craft. And so we can only take so long to be in it. So I got us there pretty quickly. We got into the planet. I did my landing. We have to cool down. It's very hot. So I went into the water there first, completely cooled down, and then I came back up and I found my spot and I put her down, and we got everybody off, and that met people there, you know, and where we were going to stay, and Mitra was there waiting for me, and I had a wonderful time. It was a beautiful day for me. It was a beautiful week for me because I had my dad with me, and we came back.
Can you describe the craft?
Talata is a very large craft. He's one of the bigger ones. What you see of him when he's in the sky is not the full view of him. It's hard to see him. He is sort of boomerang shaped, but not quite. It's not the traditional circular craft. Okay, he's almost boomerang and rectangular at the same time. And if you view him from the side, he has an uphill. And he swings up like that and comes down. He almost looks like an Egyptian helmet from the side. And then underneath him, underneath the arch of him, he has what they call, it's a battery shaft where he can drop it. It's a circular compartment that comes down. And when we're inside atmospheres, we go to batteries, not full power. Okay, because too late. And you'll see them and they light up. You can see them lit up when he's arraying them properly. He is probably closer to about 5 footballs in size, fields in size. He's ginormous. But what you see, like I said, you don't see the full of him, and he doesn't come close enough for you to really see him. And when he's coming in, he's not coming in full dimension space. He's still slightly out. You can see him, but not all the way of what he is. And people get real confused when they see him. They say, well, he was like 50 feet. No, he wasn't. He was more like 3,000 feet, you know?
Wow.
Most people don't realize how big that is. They're going by everything else they've ever seen, including what we've back engineered. He is ginormous. A lot of people who come on board, when we're bringing him on board, go into shock because it's like he's huge. And they say, he doesn't look this big. Wow. You know, and it's like, yeah, he is that big. He really is. And
what alters that perception, or what doesn't allow somebody to actually view the side?
Because the electromagnetic the electromagnetic fields that are around him lenses light, and he's like a cuttlefish. He can array too. He can light himself up a certain way, so you only see him a certain way. But it's that lensing effect of light that you can't see past. He can become invisible to your eyesight if he wants to, and that's why.
So you integrated with the ship with him.
Yes.
And actually you become part of the ship too.
Yes. Yeah. He's my eyes, my ears, everything. When I am flying with this, my knowledge, my ability, I have a weird eidetic memory. Okay. I remember number sequences like nobody's business. When I was young, I could memorize the phone book and realize, ooh, bad idea. And when I was working for the government, I had to stop because I started remembering everybody by their social security number. I don't want to do that anymore. Stop. I know frequency markers, and one of the things when you're learning to fly with them is you're taken where you're going to go first with somebody else. They show you where it is. You know where the marker is, the frequency marker, because when you light gate, you're light gating to a marker, a frequency marker. You're opening a gate to that marker, okay? And so I know them all. Talata can't fly without me. He knows them all as well, but he's too busy protecting everybody when we're flying, especially here. Because people here are violent as all get out. And it's just better to have 2 people running this than 1, okay? And it makes it better for, I'm going to sneeze. I'm so sorry. Hold on. Oh, no.
You're allowed to sneeze.
Oh, no. I don't just sneeze. I boss you. Yeah, try not to. Anyway, so, yeah, it is amazing what's part of it. It is all psychic, by the way. We are all running their craft psychically. It is technology that is billions of years in advance of Earth.
Who came up with the term light gates in relationship to what you just said?
I was taught that by the Greys. They call it the light gate. We open a light
So
gate.
is it like a portal that is opened, or?
Well, a gate is a portal. A door is a
Right,
portal.
sure. I
And
just
it's
want
not, but I want you to go away from the stupid wormhole theory. It is not
Okay.
a wormhole. Okay. It is a light gate where we open a dimensional gate.
I see.
Okay. Not a wormhole, a
Right.
dimensional light gate. We change the frequency of the light literally deliberately to open it up so that we can go from here to here through that gate that fast.
Right.
That's how I understand a portal to be, is what you're describing. I don't have a wormhole understanding of
Too
it.
many people do. It drives me crazy. It's
They
like,
Well,
do.
we're also trying to figure it out. So we're going to use something that's
Yeah.
we understand. But the idea about it being energy, frequency, by
Yeah.
whatever it is, light, just it's sort of a quantum thing that we're trying to gravitate to. But I was just curious about that.
it's
So how long would it take you go through the light gate and wherever you would go?
the longest I've been in transition in the gate would be less than 1 minute. The shortest amount of time is seconds.
How far would you go?
When we went to the halfway across the universe, I was in for almost a full minute.
Can you quantify that in terms of light years for Earth? Or I know it's completely different, but I just want people to understand the magnitude of the technology and the advancements.
It's about 1 billion light years away.
Oh my God.
Long way. We live in a galaxy where this is our neighborhood, and it's in millions of light years. Okay, think about this. There's billions and trillions. If you go from one end of the universe to the other, the math that they've come up with is a couple of trillion, like 3 trillion light years across. So think about it. It's like billions to get to the center. And then there's top to bottom. You got ascension and declination in this thing that we're in, and it's huge, and it fluctuates. It's not static. It breathes and it contracts and expands and does all kinds of things. It's been here, always been here. There is no big bang, by the way. That not at all, and it will never collapse, never. So
that's incredible. Holy moly! So one of the other things that's kind of something that always fascinating, you have experienced, and then real quick, because I want to go to the photos and the images, but you've experienced a number of times and events where you were healed, either by them or what, because looking at the book, you are an intense, no sleeping person. You got a lot of stuff that goes on there, but you have experienced a number of healings that they've associated with. Can you explain some of that? Because people are going to identify a lot with that, because that's a lot of what we understand happens.
Yeah. Well, one of the first things that happened to me was after my incident on the base with the psychic ability stuff, I came down with infectious mononucleosis out of nowhere. Nobody had it. I wasn't in contact with it anywhere. It just showed up, and it was killing me. It was bloody killing me. I couldn't eat. I was becoming skeletal. I was tired all the time. I was sick. I got to the point that I was getting ready to die, and there was nothing they could do. They tried everything, and we were at home, and they bought air conditioner and put it in my great grandparents' bedroom, and they gave me that bedroom, and they went to Chicago for a couple of weeks because I don't think my great grandmother could have handled watching me die. But then she decided to stay and just send my great grandfather, and so she stayed in the room with me. And the doctor came because they thought I was dying, and I did. I died, and I was told on the other side that I was coming back, which freaked me out. I did not. I was out of pain. It felt good to be there. Oh wow, And I slammed back into my body doing 90 miles an hour. What happened is I didn't wake up at home. I woke up in the hospital, and the doctor picked me up, put me in his car, and my mother and my grandmother and my father ran behind them, and we ended up in Baptist Hospital in Miami. And my spleen had ruptured, and that's what not killed me. I was bleeding out, and the doctor had his hand in my guts, and he was holding on to me, put a belt around me, and when they got me into surgery, they realized that my spleen had started to heal itself already. It was scarring up already, and that I wasn't bleeding anymore. And as I grew up, those things plagued me. Why did that happen? Whoa. And I was trying to come up with an explanation for it, and I was finally told by them that they intervened at that moment, that they took action, and actually showed up with the doctor and me, and took me aboard with him, and started healing me, put me back in the car with him, and got me in other words, they took me out of time, put me right back in time, and I got to the hospital. I survived it. That's the first one that I know about. I've had the most recent one is it was in 2022. I have my father's cardiovascular system. Okay, I have great wide open veins, no problem. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful veins, no problem. But my heart veins clogged right up, and I didn't know it. And I started having a heart attack. And Preston called an ambulance, and they got me there, and they realized that it was happening. And now we live in the middle of nowhere, and they had to have a helicopter come and get me and take me to Cartersville, Georgia, because I'm way up in the North Georgia mountains. And when they got me, they wouldn't let him drive me or put me in an ambulance. They said, no, she'll die. It's that bad. So they flew me. And it took them 24 hours, almost 35 hours to get me into the cath lab because I'm allergic to the dye that they have to put in my body. I'm anaphylactic to it. I can't handle it, the iodine dye. And so they had to give me prophylactics, and when he got in there, they found out two things. One is I'm anesthesia resistant. Redheads just don't anesthetize easily, and I don't. They gave me propofol, and I remember the whole thing. I was wide awake through the whole thing, just didn't feel anything. And he was looking at my veins. He said, Jesus, one of them is 100%. And he looked at me, and I looked at him, and he said, you should not be alive. And the other one was right at 98% going over the wrong way. And he said, I don't know who's looking after you. He said, but I got to put something in. They were so closed up, they were afraid they couldn't get the stent in. And when he did it, it miraculously expanded for them. They watched it happen. His jaw was hitting the ground. I was like, look at this, look at this. And both of them went in, and I have 2 wide open veins in my chest now. And when I had my after appointments, they said, you have 9 lives. You just used 4 of them. Don't do it again. And I'm like, okay, sure. He said, I don't know how you were alive. He said, you should be dead. You should have died on the table in the cath lab too. And he said, there's no explanation for what happened. And he said, your veins blew open for us. It should not have happened that way. And Talata said they intervened during the surgery. They were there. You couldn't see them. They were helping. That was a direct intervention to keep me alive. And the one that I've never talked about to many people, and it's sort of in the book, is I was poisoned in 2008 with antifreeze. And they expected me to die. And they literally kept me from going under. My kidneys only went to 38%. Luckily, they helped with that. And then for the next 8 years after that, they kept me going for 8 years at 38%. And then my kidneys finally crashed. And now I have a kidney transplant because of what happened. And but they've always intervened. And the intervention for that too is miraculous as well, because here's where Daddy comes in. My father's best friend in the military, who was his blood buddy because they had the same blood type, were in Korea, and he got critically injured. And my dad went with him to the MASH unit knowing he's going to need blood because they have, an unusual blood type. And he gave him an inline transfusion. He gave him about 3.5 or 4 pints of inline blood to save his life. So years go by. He has a daughter. My dad has a daughter. I have a brother. She has 2 brothers. The brothers match the moms, but we match our dads. And she found out that my kidneys were dying and had died. And I was heading to Georgia to go to Emory. I was going to stay with my mother. It's after my father died, and get into the program. But I had to get a chest implant first because I had no fistula yet.
Yeah.
She went to the zoo to pick me up. She followed me home, and we got there. I walked in the door, and there's her mom sitting there with my mom with big grins on their face. I'm like, what's going on? And she sat me down and she said, I'm giving you a bloody kidney. And I said, you don't realize what you're saying to me. She said, yes, I do. And I said, don't do it because my dad saved your dad's life. She said, I'm not. And I said, why the heck are you doing it? And she said, because God told me to. And I'm like, huh. Okay. And I was on dialysis for almost a year to the day. And when we went to get the kidneys, her kidney came directly from her body into my body within 5 minutes. And it started working right away. And that was 9 years ago in September, 9 years.
Wow.
We matched 97.4% unrelated. And think of it what you will.
So you've been through it.
Yeah.
I've had all kinds of things happen.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, Dolly. Wow.
You know, again, there's so much from the book, and I want to encourage everybody to make sure you get the book and read it. But I would like to, if it's okay, Dolly, and to spend some time with the stuff that you sent me, because I think these visual things are important, and you can tell a number of other additional stories. So if you're ready, I'd like to talk a little bit, show some stuff, and go from there. And then you just tell us about it as we go, okay?
Okay.
So there's a number of things, Dolly, that you sent us, pictures. And this is an interesting picture because this is Toledo, right?
Hello. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Toledo. I apologize.
Okay.
And so one of the things, before you tell us about this, you and I talked yesterday, and you said, I'm going to send you some stuff, and you sent me this, and you sent me some videos. But you also said, hey, when I first came out into the ufology world to express my story, because I wanted to get it out, I wanted people to hear it because of time, because of who they are, because of awareness. This was in, I think you were in Laughlin at the time, near Las Vegas.
Yeah,
and
2021.
sighting. You said to me, can you look up or do some investigation about with MUFON to see if there was any reports, because the pictures that you're seeing are you calling Talara and demonstrating himself and his craft so that you could show people that you're in contact with them. And so
Right.
I found, just to let you know, I found you said to go to June 6th and 7th of 2021 because you were at a UFO conference. So I just want to do this real quick. I found 3 reports from that day. The first one was on the 7th, 6/7/21 at 04:30. A lady who was going to Nellis Air Force Base saw an oval-shaped craft. And while she was going to work, and I just wanted to read this real quick because it's really cool. The witness, after getting out of her car, saw this bright light in the sky. She was looking at the light at first, lower in the sky, that seemed to be like an airplane, but had a real unusual pattern. She suddenly saw another object higher because in the sky, opposite directions, and it was much brighter. Suddenly they stopped, turned like a 90-degree from their original point. And this surprised the heck out of her. Said it flew for a few seconds and then increased speed, so it changes its speed. This is when I started becoming upset and frightened and really walked quickly to the front door of my workplace because it stopped and then it moved and then it changed direction. And she knew at that particular point that it was something that she couldn't even imagine. That's one. Another one on that same night, but later on, was on top of a skylight when he saw from the skylight at directly the same location that the lady did near the north end of Las Vegas, where Nellis Air Force Base is, and then the range that goes out to Area 51. He said he saw, and it was about 18 miles away, he saw a craft in the air, and it too changed directions. There was no other lights or anything. It pulsated, it zoomed, and he tried to get a picture of it. He did submit a video, but it just was low quality. And then finally, there was another one the next day out at Rachel, where a family stopped during the day, was looking at the Joshua trees and saw an orb flying around. That video is a very good video. But all 3 of these were involved, reported to MUFON, and I was able to locate those. So that sort of tells me that you said, look at that day, because the video that we're going to show is you taking a video of that same day, same night of your Toledo showing you who he was and who you demonstrated it to. So these are the pictures, right, that relate to that.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
I know that you sent me 3, but I liked it. So I can't see the whole thing. The ship is not arced, or is it arced, or is it this?
It was just this outer shape of it. He was arranged so you could see over the top of him. When he has his front light, he has 2 front lights, and the right front light is the one that he blares like a sun, so you could pick him out of the sky. He can obliterate his entire shape with that light. He can move it out so big that that's all you see is a great big orange light. Okay,
So I'm gonna try this and see if we can do the way I'm hoping. So this is one of the videos that you sent me. This is the first one. There's the picture.
Yes, yeah.
It's not very long.
He's at 3,000 feet there.
3,000 feet. So you actually took this and you wanted to show people that, hey, they're going to come and show themselves.
Right. My friend Yvonne Watson was with me. She was my witness. She picked me up in Las Vegas. He actually followed me from Florida to Las Vegas. He was protecting me.
So what I want to do is, this is the second one.
Right. Yeah. He stopped it.
Come here, look at my camera.
I see it.
This is it.
He's gonna do a flyby. I asked for it, we're getting it. They told me to start looking. Yeah, triar.
By the way, I'm speaking the language to him. That means I'm ready. I was telling him I'm ready.
I just thought it was interesting, the whole thing.
Yeah. He did do the flyby, but it downed all our electricity when he did it.
Did he really? So this, and then there's one more. This one's this. I just want to make sure. This one's cool. I'm sorry. Did you see that?
You'll see it again. He's dropping drones.
So he's dropping drones and he's showing them to you.
Yeah. That's the second craft doing that.
So that's what I was saying. So there was two crafts.
I'm so
And
tired.
this is
Right.
what the other. I'm sorry. Let me not say anything while you're doing it.
Go ahead. There were two crafts that night. There was also a drone with
Okay, we're
them.
gonna charge up tonight.
But the drone is really hard to see. The person who you're talking about probably only saw the two of them because they're huge. The drone was very small. So, yeah.
And then those weren't very long, but I wanted to make sure that everybody had. So the other. So let's go on here. So please tell us about these. So I took this out of the book that you sent, Symmetry. Again, everybody, you got to get it. These are pictures. Please tell us, Dolly. Can you see them?
Well, yeah. The one on the left is me and my brother and my mom and dad.
Let me make sure. Can I? I'm sorry. I want to go back a little bit.
Yeah. And then the other one is just me and my brother, different age. That's me in my crib with my foot through the railing because that's how I slept. I was afraid to be lifted out of the crib again, so I was holding on with my feet when I slept. I thought that would help me not be taken out that way. A weird little kid thinking that. There's another one in there of me and a little girl with a bonnet on in a colorful outfit, overlaying me and my brother in the Wisconsin. I'm the same age as that. They took me out of time. I went back to see relatives of mine in Sweden. I'm related to Carl Larsson. He's an artist. And I went to my great cousin's birthday. There were twin girls and his daughters.
What
in
year?
1904.
Okay, go ahead.
And the reason they let me do it is I speak Swedish, so it was no problem there. And he drew all of us. And then when he was done drawing me, I wasn't allowed to touch the ground. They warned me, do not touch the ground. They put me sitting at the table, okay? A picnic table outside. And so I was very careful not to put my feet on the ground. And when we're done, they pulled me out right away. And once he was done doing all the drawings, I was told that he went back and then did the paintings. That's part of a bigger painting, that picture.
So this is an actual painting.
Yes.
That was done by Carl Larsson.
Carl Larsson. Yeah, my great grandmother saw it when I was about 15, 16. And she's like, Dolly, that's you. I know you when I see you. What the heck? She said, look at that. And I was like, yeah, look at that. And she said, that's not, she says, I know we're related to him, but what? She said, I know everybody. No, you're there. And I said, what if I was? And she said, oh, my great grandmother was very psychic, more psychic even than me. Okay. And she said, that's something. That's really something. It freaked her completely out. She framed the picture after that and kept it on her dresser. And, yeah.
Let me ask you a question. This picture of your hand, is this the implant that helps you drive
Yes.
the ship?
Yeah, it's in
Right.
here.
So
Yeah.
it's in there. So that's your hand. Can you raise your hand again and show us where it's at?
That's
So
right.
that's your hand, and there's an implant in there that helps you integrate with
Find
the
it.
ship, right?
It's right here. Yeah, it's right here.
And the reason why I'm going to show that is because in this next picture, now tell us again, tell us this is the tree world where the learning planet is.
Yes.
So tell us these pictures.
Okay, well, that's the tree that I was educated in, and Preston asked me to do drawings of it, so I did. I'm not that good of an artist, but I did the best I could. And then the one below it,
That looks like it's the pilot chair where you would grab the I guess the thing to help fly it, or
got it. Okay, too bad talking. I was Faradayed in that chair. Those two black spots are pads that my feet sat on, and that's the chair. And the arm thing is where it's a I can't say it. Dodecahedron. It's a ball. It's a round ball. It's very small, and it fits in a purse-like thing. And I take it out, and this in my hand initializes. I hold it in my hand like this, and the energy from this energizes it, and it gets to be about that big, you know.
wow.
And it goes up, and I lift up, and it magnetically connects with the top of that arm, so that it keeps it above my head. And it is. Talat and I meet mentally, you know, psychically meet inside that environment. I also see all of the mechanisms of the craft. I don't know how to explain it. I can do what he does when I'm with him that way. I can run the air. I can run the volume of everything. I can run the light arrays. I can run. I have heads up display. I have. I know where everybody.
It's total integration.
Yeah, 100% integration. He becomes my eyes, everything.
Wow.
And I can move the ball. One of my hands will come up, and I can actually rotate the ball, because sometimes when you're light gating, we have to. I'm fully piloting at that point. It's dangerous to go through that thing. It's not a mental exercise. I can't just think about it and do it. I have to run the ball. Okay, it's like a steering mechanism for me, and I go through the light gate with that. When I come into planetary spaces, I'm running the ball. In other words, I am flying. It's my nerves, my instincts, my everything.
Right.
I'm flying it down.
So let me ask you a question, just to introduce. Tell us about the picture of the alien on the side that has the red and yellow. Now that's Mama, right?
Mama, yeah, that's Mama.
Okay.
She's gorgeous. Kisara, Preston's sister-in-law, did a beautiful picture, and I didn't send it to you, of her full-bodied, drawing of her. And I
would
should
love to see it, please. Send it.
Let's see if I can pull it up real quick.
No, that's okay. I get it, but I want you to send it. So
She's gorgeous.
That's Mama.
Yeah.
And
the one on the left, the bottom, is in AI gray. That's what they look like. And It's funny because Whitley saw them. He knows who they are. When I saw his book, which I didn't see until after I came out, by the way, Preston showed it to me. I went, oh, there it is. See, there they are. That's what they look like. And they really, really small, very fragile looking. And they are. You can hurt them real bad, real fast, and they won't fight back, And then the other one is, if you were to look down through the top of the ceiling of the craft and look down, that's my seat and then 3 other seats. It's a panel. And then that panel in front where the windows would be, if we opened them, that's Talata's mind. He's in there. That's where he indwells from that point right there. And then there's a wall behind us, and then 2 entries from other places in the craft that you can come on to that deck. And we don't call it, we don't really call it, it's referred to as the place of movement. Okay, I drive from the place of movement. And then those 2 pictures on the side are 2 different crafts that I've been in or observed. This one I observed both of them. Somebody was bringing me messages or whatever, and I got them. I was in the middle of the night, and I was in southwestern Georgia at a friend's house babysitting animals. They were out of town, and he came to visit me with a message. That one did. Still, Preston.
I want to go from there. So I'm glad we talked about Talara. I'm looking down from the ship. So
yeah,
this is something that you told me yesterday. And I want everybody to stand by, because to me, I've never heard this. So tell us what you tell everybody what you told me yesterday about the Turkey UFO 2008 incident, that ship, and then these pictures.
That is Talata. Those two are from the Turkey thing. And you can see the top, he's a little bit more forward there. You can see both lights in the front. You see his battery thing down on the bottom, and he's arraying. These are moonlight shots. In August that year, the moon was really full, and they got a bunch of really good moonlight shots. But you can see in this one, the really bigger window there, see it? That's a light. Okay. And then I'm further back on the left there. That's my place, down the side.
So
and
I just want to make sure everybody understands. You were there. You were in the
ship. I was the pilot all 3 years. 2007, a couple of times that year. 2008, a couple of times that year. And 2009, a couple of times that year.
And this is the video that the person caught in Turkey in 2008 that we can find on the internet.
Right. Yeah. When it first came out, you could fully see me on deck. Okay. You could see me in the place of movement, and they scrubbed the videos, immediately scrubbed the videos. They took it off my computer as well, which kind of made me upset. And it took years to even come up with the one picture on the right there. Preston found that. He was digging and digging and digging. And he came and learned one night, and he said, "Dolly, is that you?" And I went, "Yep, there I am." It's not a full scan of me, but that's the side of me and my shoulder, and I'm wearing a black jumpsuit and my red hair. And that's two grays right there talking to me. You can see he's leaning back, speaking to me. He's like this, leaning back at me and telling me what he's seeing out the window, because I can't leave the chair. I'm flying, and I was way back of him, down about 2 or 3 feet. Where I placed, but he was sitting up in the window with the other gray, and Mama was behind that as well.
So in most of the pictures that are online, when people started to view this particular event, one of the big things about this event, you can see 2 grays. That's one of them, right?
Yeah.
And they're there. Now, if I understand, when you told me, you actually sit a little bit lower than these 2.
Or the back of that panel, yeah. That window's up higher.
Right.
Yeah.
And Mama's on your other side, if you will.
Yes.
And the arrow that you have drawn,
it's pointing toward my head. Yeah.
It's towards your head.
Yeah.
I had never heard that. And I looked at this event, and there was something. Is there anything else that you want to add? Because we were talking about a bunch of different things about this event. Would you like to share what you also said about it?
Yeah, it was disturbing because we thought, when we did this, that a disclosure would jump 1,000 miles a minute after this. Okay. We thought that nobody would be able to stop talking about it. We thought it would become worldwide news, and that everybody would understand that they just got visited by ET. Okay. None of that happened. None of it. The government slapped down on it as fast as they could. They locked down on it so fast. Lear went out there, and a bunch of other people to debunk it at that point in 2008. In 2009, they were going to debunk the whole thing. They were trying, they never could. And it was really upsetting to me. I knew they were out there watching us. I knew what was going on. We did dawn shot. We did daylight under the moon. We did everything we could. We arrayed, we did different colors, everything. And sure enough, y'all, the powers that be, locked down on it so fast. And it's my greatest disappointment. I thought, this is it. We're gonna put it out there. We're gonna stop them from lying to y'all about everything, and it didn't happen that way. It's my greatest disappointment in humanity, honestly.
Why do you? I'm just curious. Do you think it's because people just don't care, or
it has nothing to do with the general population? It has to do with the military-industrial complex that is worldwide now, and They want it down. They do not want you to know the truth.
It's just a continued manipulation.
Yes.
So one of the pictures that I did show, and we didn't talk much about, was this one about this vehicle here. And this is the one that you tell me that they're constantly either surveilling you or scrubbing your computer or changing things, and you have to sort of almost recreate that. Just tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, these guys are agents who are like what you would refer to as men in black. He didn't always wear suits. Sometimes in Florida, you would wear cool clothes too, but I was never without them. And they would change. There were like 3 groups of them that worked on me or with me. And if I traveled, I would have helicopters following me or chase cars, following me. And when I went to Laughlin, Preston got to see them. They actually followed me there as well and parked in the driveway of the Airbnb and didn't leave till the morning when I was like, get out of our way, I'm surveilled 100% of the time. They hear me. They hear us right now. They're hearing me through you. When I first moved into this house, they had drones over the house. I almost went and got the gun and shot them out of the sky. But then I thought, no, I'm not going to drag that on myself. So I just closed all the windows and flipped them off. Talata has twice told them no. And so they don't overtly surveil me now. I mean, they're out there. I know when they're there, but they don't sit in my driveway anymore. They're afraid to. In 2019, they tried to invade the house of my daughter. I was staying with my daughter because I was at the zoo and I was on vacation. And her and her husband went to Rockville. He's a producer, music producer. And they went and did that. And I was upstairs in my room and I got woken up. Talata said, get out of the room now. Look out the window, look to see what's coming at you. And there was an agent up on the shelf. The porch was right there where my window was. And he knocked him off and EMP'd the car, caught it on fire. And I spent the last 2 hours after that watching all cop cars show up and all government cars show up. And it got crazy out there for about 2 hours while they cleaned it up, did what they did and went away. And he actually made sure that they understood. He messaged them directly, do not come at me again. And so they had to try different tactics to come after me. And they found a couple of more ways to go at me. Laughlin, they stole my phone. When they told me security had it, I very stupidly, I was naive. It was my first time to go to one of these mega thingies, and I'm looking at him and he has gloves on and he had a plastic pouch and he took it out and he handed it to me through a slot. And I stupidly took it and went straight to the bathroom. It was already too late. I already had what was on it and wiped it off, rinsed it off as best I could, but I was already contaminated. And I came down with valley fever. And for 21 days, I fought for my life. It almost killed me. And Preston got it as well. And no, it wasn't fun. They gave me COVID in 2019 as well.
That's the sad part about it. But I in close, and we could spend another hour of this, but I know we're getting to.
Will you come back again in the future, Dolly? Yeah. Will you visit us again? Because I don't think we're done talking, and I'm going to guess we may even get some questions. You guys have our email address, and I don't know when exactly, but Dolly, please come back. This is really.
I will do that.
And Dolly, this is your podcast, yours and Preston's podcast.
Yes.
The Lightgate podcast. That's where people can find it.
And they'll see Mama. Go and watch those episodes because there's an episode with Mama, and you should go watch it over on their podcast.
Yep. Preston's actually met her for his birthday when they were getting ready to bug out. They gave him a ride, and Mom was with him.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So I know we're at the end, and I know you wanted to make sure that you shared what
I have a message for all of humanity. This is important to ET.
No, there it is.
And I was told to write this down word for word by Talata. It comes from ET. And it's called Be Strong in Love. And it says, love is what carries through. Love is what heals. Love is the strength of life. Love has no limit. Therefore, let love become who you are. Let love evolve to its fruition. Let the light that is love burn bright. Let its wisdom guide you to higher understanding, and let its power move you to teach its power to others. Love, be strong in love. That is our absolute main message to humanity.
Dolly, we really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Dolly.
So much stuff, so much energy. Please,
so many notes. I don't even know what to do with all my notes about everything you said, except thank you to come back.
Yeah, get the book.
Well, Richard, you've seen my stack of books. I will get the book, but
get the book. Well, and I want everybody else the book. Good book. It gives.
Read books. Read real books made of paper.
Go over to the Lightgate for Dolly and Preston and all the other works that they have. Dolly, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And I hope you'll allow us to have you back and tell us some more fascinating parts and messages that you have for us and for everyone else.
Okay.
So thank you, Dolly.
Thank you. Thank you. Honor. Thank you.
Good to see you. Bill, yeah, so we're at the end. Closing
We are.
comments, closing thoughts.
I don't know. I mean, look, I got
I
a
think-
million comments and thoughts.
Right. You
I
go
feel
first,
like
CJ.
okay, great. Yeah, I think Dolly, like, really, just as somebody who's had, contact and maybe not as much recall as Dolly, who has clearly a photographic memory, but she really captured a lot of, I think, the things that a lot of us contactees feel and think, just from not being able to tell friends, family, kind of that kind of stuff to what was one of the other things I wrote down that she said? I made so many notes. Maybe I made too many notes.
The stories were alive.
Alive, because
They
you
were
really,
alive.
yeah, like you really can, like, so many things she talked about just remind me of other experiences that I've had. And that's how I think a lot of us do, is we're always looking for these stories that help us relate in the things that have happened to us. So I don't know. I really appreciated it. I took a lot of notes. I hope to talk to Dolly off sometime. And just for future, I'll let you wrap it out. But, for some of the future stuff, if you guys are looking for other book assignments too, remember, we're going to be getting into the Bible and Flying Saucers by Father Barry Downing. And there's several books out there, but this is one of the ones I read about the miracle of Fatima, and we'll be discussing that in the future. So these are the kind of things you might want to do a little research on for when we get to those podcasts that will be coming out in the fall and winter of this year. So, and I'll toss it back to you, Richard.
Again, please write us, folks. Tell us what you thought of this segment, this whole episode. Tell us about Dolly. Reach out to Dolly. Tell us what we could have done better. Ask questions. We'll pass it on. Those of you who've had sightings, those of you who've experienced contact, you can reach us. You can reach the MUFON ERT. You can reach MUFON. Just reach out to someone so that you can share just your experiences. So I just wanted to say that I really have had a good time. And
me too. Oh, you know what she made me think of too was the parents of experiencers, because she was talking about her mom. And that's one thing I wanted to mention. And sorry, I took so many notes, I couldn't find my notes. But if you're a parent out there and your kid is telling you stories and maybe you haven't had these experiences, please reach out to us as well. There's support groups for that. And there's, therapists. We have licensed therapists as well. Absolutely. That are familiar with the phenomenon. So it doesn't have to just be a hypnotherapist or a ufologist. It can be, we got to wrap up. Okay. Well, we love you guys. We'll be talking to you soon. We love you, Bill.
Final thought, please. It's all about the spiritual journey that we're all on. Follow your own path. Let your heart lead. Try not to step in anything. And, it's more fun with friends. So we leave that with you. Thank you for sharing with us. And thank you for being with us. See you next time.
See you next time. Buckle up, Buttercup.